How's it going? Ryan here at etrailer.com. Today on our 2017 Buick Envision, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster stoplight switch kit. There's going to be 5 main components needed to flat tow your Envision down the road. They're going to include the base plate, the diode wiring, a braking system, a tow bar, as well as safety cables. So either you're just beginning to set up your Buick to flat tow it, or you already had it set up and your braking system uses an indicator light which isn't working. That's where the stoplight switch kit is going to come into play. So this is what your stoplight switch is going to look like installed. And since it uses a custom bracket, it's going to be really easy to set up and align with your brake pedal arm perfectly. So the way it's going to work, whenever you push down on your brake pedal, as if they're being applied, there's going to be a little white plunger that will be exposed out of the switch. And when that is released, that's going to send that brake light signal. Now, if your braking system uses an indicator light that mounts to the dashboard of your motorhome, like this for example, the brake light switch kit is going to allow this to illuminate. Now this will illuminate whenever you hit the brakes in your motorhome, and your braking system inside of the Buick applies the brake pedal in the car. And that's really nice because you're going to be able to keep an eye on things from the front seat of your motorhome as you're driving down the road, giving you that peace of mind knowing your braking system is working. Now as far as the installation goes, there's really not a whole lot to it. It's relatively straightforward and shouldn't take you a whole lot of time. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and put it on together now. To begin your installation, you're first going to want to pop your hood and disconnect your power wire from your positive battery terminal. Now we can go ahead and move over to the driver's side floorboard, and we're going to be working underneath the dash. First, we're going to have a couple of things that we need to remove. The first one being this little panel. That sits right up here like so. And to get that off, it's just 2 7mm screws just like this, and we'll have one on each side. And once we have that released, we can move it to the side. Now we're going to have this airbag pack that we need to drop down. That's going to be held in place by a 10mm nut, one on each side. We'll get both those removed. And when we do, we're just going to very carefully lower this down and kind of set it off to the side to give us some room to work. At this point, we can go ahead and secure our bracket. Now this is a little tricky to see, so you're really going to have to get up underneath the dash. But what we're looking for is a 13mm nut just to the right or closer to the passenger side of our steering column. And what you'll do is take that 13mm nut off, slide your bracket over the stud, and tighten the nut back down. I already went ahead and put that bracket on there just because it's a little easier to see for you guys. And here's where the bracket eventually drops down by our brake pedal arm. Now we can put our switch into the bracket, and this is really straightforward. What you'll do is take the gold nut and the star washer off, and then the switch will just push through the hole in the bracket, and then you'll just put that star washer back on, followed by that gold nut. Now we're going to adjust the switch or tighten these down to the point where the white plunger on the end of the switch will be completely depressed into the switch. So for example, the brake pedal is completely released. You can't see that white plunger, but if you push the brake pedal down, that white plunger will be exposed. Now we can go ahead and hook our wires up. So what we're going to do is use some butt connectors to connect the red wire to one of the black wires coming out of the switch. Doesn't matter which one. And the same thing with the green wire. That'll go to the other black wire. So the green wire, that's going to go to the front of our vehicle and get connected to our 6-pole. In our case, this one went to terminal S on the back of the 6-pole. The red wire, that's also going to get ran towards the front into the engine compartment, and that'll get hooked to the positive terminal on our battery. Now since I do have to run these all the way up front, I actually did have to get some other butt connectors and some extra wiring. That way I was able to extend these and reach all the way up front. Now the wiring just kind of loops around down our kick panel. There's actually a grommet right underneath the carpet here in this area that you can use to drop those wires through underneath the vehicle and bring up into the engine compartment. Now here's a wire that we extended coming from the red wire out of our switch that's going to get hooked up to battery power. Now since I opted to do it this way, directly to the battery, because I feel it's more reliable, I did add a fuse holder. Now these are sold separately, so that's something you're going to have to pick up if you want to do it this way. But I just used a butt connector to connect it to the fuse holder and a ring terminal to connect it to the stud on our battery post. Now the green wire that we extended, I just ran along through here. And it's a little tricky to see, but we dropped it down through an opening down to here, over to our 6-way plug, and then we connected that wire to the corresponding terminal on the plug. So now what you can do is connect your wire back to the positive post on your battery, and then take your fuse and install it into your holder. And once we have this done, then you can go back underneath the dash and get everything put back together and cleaned up. And here's what it looks like once we have everything cleaned up and put back together. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster stoplight switch kit on our 2017 Buick Envision.